created within the Salesforce. Okay, many of them are resolved within 1 day, 2 day. Some cases might be took 1 month to resolve those cases. Okay, so data will be huge, right? So we want to, and business want to delete those older cases. I mean, they can able to track up to 6 months. So beyond the 6 months, the cases which were closed, so we need to delete from the DB database. Okay. So here, what is the best solution? Okay. So as a Salesforce developer, you need to think, okay, what is the best possible solution to implement this one? Why? Because so there will be a older than 6 months cases. There might be 50,000 or 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh also. Okay, so data will be huge. Okay, so at the time, what is the solution that you would prefer as a Salesforce developer? What you would recommend to the business? Okay, in this case, so here, as a Salesforce developer, you need to think as all possibilities, and the best option should be batch attack. Why? Because every 6 months we need to run a batch class, so that it will be fetching the older than 6 months records, and it will delete from the database. So here, best solution would be batchapex. Okay, scenario is, I mean, if somebody asks whether you implemented a batchapex or not, yes, I implemented. So can you explain about your scenario? So we have multiple cases which are registered within the Salesforce. The cases which are older than 6 months, those are not required for the business. So that is where I implemented batchapex. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So after deleting this batch, this older record, older than 6 months case record, sending one acknowledgement email to the, I mean, respective business POC, point of contact, who need this information. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So and also I sent failure, success or failure case records also. I sent success, failure case records also. How did you send success or failure case records? So by implementing the database dot stateful. Okay, by using the database stateful, so I can able to track each and every record's execution, so that I can able to send this information to the business. So and also I had implemented one more configuration, like when business required. Okay, if sometimes business required to change the older than 3 months records, or older than 8 month records. Okay, they want to change case closure date in different variations. Okay, based on business requirement in future. So at that time, if any developer don't want to change any code level, so to configure this value, I had implemented custom metadata settings. Okay, I had implemented custom metadata, so that if future, if any, I mean, if business want to change the, for example, right now 6 months, right? Older than 6 months. Later they introduce 12 months. Okay, later business change the decision to make only 12 months older than records needs to be deleted, or 3 months. Okay, 3 or 12 or 9 months. Okay, whatever the value that we can able to configure it here. Okay, so how did you achieve this one? By using custom metadata, metadata. So and also, for example, if who needs to be receive this deleted case notification. Okay, in future, if somebody changed from the organization, at that time, if you want to change the notification, closed cases notification user email, so that is also we can able to configure notification email address. Okay, in future, so both are configurable, so they can able to change the case closed criteria. Okay, as well as notification email address, so to who business want to send this email notification, directly they can go to that respective custom metadata. They can able to change the values accordingly as per business requirement. So in this case, we can able to reusable that one same component, and without intervention of any development efforts, admin can able to configure easily. Such a way we need to build the solution to the business. Okay, so now what we'll do, so for that, initial requirement is prerequisites. So I'm using custom metadata settings. Then what are all the data that you would require? So for that one, so in quick find box you can able to search for custom metadata. Custom, so custom metadata types. So here I created a one object. So you need to create a custom metadata object with required fields, and then you need to create a records. There are three steps. First you need to create a custom metadata record, custom metadata object. Okay, this is the object I created. Okay, so by clicking on new custom metadata type, it will create an object. Okay, custom metadata object information. So under this you can able to create a fields. Okay, under this object, so there are fields, custom fields. So these are all the fields I created. Whether the custom metadata particular record is active or not, I'm checking, as well as notification email. So to whom I need to send the email notification, as well as retention months. So right now, so this is a number field. Okay, so whatever the value business required in future, they can able to check these two values. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So now I'm going to create configuring the record. So click on this manage case deletion configuration. Here you can create a record. Okay, so what are all the fields that you created? For that you need to create a custom metadata record. Okay, like here, yeah, చెప్పు కస్టమ్ సెట్టింగ్స్ కి so both are same. Okay, that is the different way. I mean, custom metadata is the different one. Custom settings are different than custom metadata types. Why? Because in custom metadata you can able to create a records fields and you can able to deploy, but in case of custom settings you cannot able to deploy the records, okay, which you created. You need to deploy manually, you need to create a hierarchy manually. But in terms of custom metadata settings, so you no need to create it manually. Through metadata you can able to deploy the data from one sandbox to another sandbox, like lower environment to higher environments. Okay, so and also custom metadata you cannot able to query. Okay, just you can get the value and assign it, but we can able to query the custom metadata types. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So in custom metadata custom settings we have list and hierarchical custom settings. So in terms of custom metadata types, we don't have such a kind. Business easily can able to configure by creating a object and by creating a fields. Okay, so case six months closed criteria, 6 months closed criteria. So number of retention months 6 is active. Okay, underscore b @yahoo.com. Okay, so this is the custom metadata record that I created. Okay, so in future if you want we can change it. Okay, so now I will go to developer console, go to the developer console and start building the batchapex. Okay, so here what I'm doing, click on new, in the file new section here, create a apex class, create a, so what is the class name, case deletion, class name is delete old closed cases batch. So always while writing the batch apex you need to mention at the end batch so that it can be easily understandable by any other developer, okay, while making the changes. So at the class end if you mention as batch, this will be treated as a batch class so that other developers who is not aware of about this functionality they can able to easily identify the components. Okay, అర్థమైందా? Public class name, what we need, implements database dot batchable a subject comma, so I want to track each and every transaction, then what I need to do,
database
successfully record database dot stateful. Okay, invalid what does it say, start execute finish methods are mandatory. Okay, so here public database dot QUE query locator start database dot batchable context database dot this one database dot batchable context. So batchable context with the variable context DC, and then just now I'm creating a classes public void execute, what is the other one, database dot
batchable context. Yes.
PAT. So same thing, batchable context BC, comma public void finish database batchable context BC. So always while saving the batchapex, these three methods are important. Okay. Database dot stateful. Oh. What is this? So this is a always scope is a list variable. What was missing here?
List of S subject కదా లోపల రావాలి.
List of oh.
వేరియబుల్ నేమ్
Missing return type. Okay, this is a RU TU return null. Invalid character at what is invalid? Just we can save batchable context BC comma list of S object. Start execute okay. So always batch class should contain three methods: database dot query locator start execute finish method. Okay, here finish method is optional. So now I want to get some I need to track, right? So private integer close success records. Okay, initial 0 private failure records equals to initial values. I'm initializing. Okay, and then so I want to get the email, right? Private string notification email. Okay, so here I need to query the when batchapex is default instantiated, when we call batchapex, we need to call a constructor. So constructor always start with batch class name. Okay, So when class calls at the time itself, so in the constructor we can initialize the values. Okay, what are all the input values that we would require, we can able to initialize, those are in constructor. అర్థమైందా? What is the use of constructor? When you call any class at the time itself, constructor will load first. Okay, so in that constructor, if we want to give some default values, okay, we can provide. So here public so here what I'm doing, so I need to query the custom metadata record. Why? Because I need to input, right? So these are all the input values I need to pass to the start method to query the 6 months older than case records. Okay, I configured, where I configured those, I configured here. Okay, so here case clean of what is that configuration custom metadata, we need to get it from case deletion configuration, case deletion configuration. So let me take this. So here we can able to query the custom metadata type records. We are querying custom metadata record types. So here by default, when batchapex class, this constructor will call initial values we are getting from the custom metadata settings. Okay, so here case closed configuration, case closed configuration. Case closed configuration. So here I'm going to initiate one more variable, private integer. What is that value? Retention months. Retention months. Okay. So right now we have only one record. That's why just that record we will get it. So if you have multiple custom metadata records, then you need to query with the specific name. Okay, is active equal to true, and what is the name of that particular custom metadata settings name. Okay, Ardhamainda? So by default we have only one record. That's why it will fetch only one record. Ardhamainda? Limit 1. So invalid type, case closed configuration. What is the value? Case deletion. Okay, value is deletion. From that custom metadata we are getting so here what are the values that we need, we are assigning to the respective constant values which we initiated on the top. Okay, so private means within this class itself we can able to use these variables. Out of this class we cannot able to use it. Okay, so by using here, so what are the retention months? Retention months equals to, what is that, config dot retention months. Okay, so initially when batchapex calls, at the time we are fetching through custom metadata and assigning values to this 2. Okay, notification email equals to config dot notification email. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమని చెప్తుంది, నోటిఫికేషన్ ఈమెయిల్ ఇల్లీగల్ అసైన్మెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ డెసిమల్ టు retention months. So we have mentioned. Is there any syntax errors here? Config dot notification email, that is one, and another one would be, so here it is considering as a decimal. Okay, here it is considering as decimal. So here we can use integer dot value of so that we'll get the only void decimal method does not exist. What is this? What is the method? Integer dot value of. Some directly we cannot able to assign. Okay, we need to make it as respective data type, then only we can able to use it within the apex. Okay, so now initial manaki em vachayi case deletion. When this batch apex is runs, at the time itself we are fetching the respective custom metadata settings. Okay, from that custom metadata settings we are getting the number of months as well as notification email to whom we are going to send an email. Okay, and then now what you need to do here, so which records we need to query? We need to query case records. Okay, list of cases equals to select. So just we need to delete, right? id from case where, what is that, closed date, right? Closed date. So here older than, right, case closed date older than 6 months. So what is the logic I need to keep here? So that is less than created date, closed date less than system dot now minus add months of, what is this value? So this value we need to keep, right? Retention months. అర్థమైందా? So here, so this will be like a string data type. So first of all, the query which I mentioned here, so we need to get the date time from the current date. So based on this cutoff date, we can able to proceed further. Directly we can use it. Instead of using in the query itself, we need to get the date and time from the system.out. So system.out ఏం చేస్తుంది? సో ఇక్కడ వాల్యూ ఉంది కదా, డైరెక్ట్గా మనం ఎలా యూజ్ చేయకుండా డేట్ అండ్ టైం వాల్యూ తెచ్చుకొని, why? Because closed date is a date and time data type. We need to convert into that data type. So date time cutoff date equals to, so system dot minus add of retention months. Mean, what does it mean? It will take the current date and time. For example, okay, so what is the today date? Less than system dot now add months, huh? So this is the system dot now dot add months of minus this value. So system dot now, so we can able to add some extra months, right? So that is the method we are using, date time. Okay, so here start location, what is the missing here? Unexpected token cutoff date, line number 27, and missing return statement. Return start method always will have return statement, return cases, return cases. So unexpected token, what is that unexpected token? Date time, date time colon, and so whether the case is closed or not also we need to check. Is closed equals to true, is closed equal to true. That means, so closed date older than 6 months as well as that case should be closed, then only we will retrieve that particular cases. So what is the issue here? Again, illegal conversion from list to database dot query locator. So here these will be, we need to mention as database dot get query locator. So we need to use database dot get query locator. Why? Because if you won't use that one, so it will get the limit exception. Okay, so directly you can use database dot query locator, or instead of specifying like this, you can use re return database dot get query locator, get query locator of select get query QUE of select so always return type would be the database dot get query locator. Okay, so start method always we have get query locator. Okay, so otherwise start method will not execute, always it expect the result of that values. So here we are selecting the case IDs where close date less than 6 months. Okay, 6 months, we are how we are getting the 6 months. So system dot now, I mean current date minus removing the months. Okay, so from the current date we are removing 6 months back. Okay, that is the cutoff date. Okay, if the close date older than this cutoff date. Okay, so what is the 6 months date? Can you tell me, anyone, based on today's date? So today date is 13/7/2026. So 6 months back old record means how many months back? So June, May, January, right? So until January 13 it won't consider, so it will take from January 14th onwards. Okay, the records which are closed from January 14th onwards it will consider, and then it will delete. అర్థమైందా? సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ జనవరికి ముందు క్రియేట్ అయిన జనవరి 14th నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేసి ఆ ముందు ఎన్ని రికార్డ్స్ అయితే క్రియేట్ అయి క్లోజ్ అయి ఉంటాయో ఆ కేసెస్ అన్ని ఫెచ్ చేసుకొని డిలీట్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకేనా? అర్థమైందా? సో మనం ఏం చేసాం ఇక్కడ ఇనిషియల్గా ఒక ఏం క్లాస్ ఇది కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ తీసుకున్నాము. కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఎందుకు వాడతాం అంటే బై డిఫాల్ట్ క్లాస్ లోడ్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు డిఫాల్ట్ వాల్యూస్ని అసైన్ చేయడానికి కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ని యూజ్ చేస్తాము. సో ఈ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్లో మనం కస్టమ్ మెటాడేటాని క్వరీ చేసుకున్నాము. కస్టమ్ మెటాడేటా నుంచి క్వరీ చేసుకొని ఇనిషియల్ వాల్యూస్కి అసైన్ చేసుకున్నాం. మనకు ఏ కస్టమ్ మెటాడేటా నుంచి ఏ డేటా కావాలో ఆ డేటాని లోకల్ వేరియబుల్కి అసైన్ చేసుకున్నాము. ఓకే, చేసుకున్న తర్వాత ఏం చేసాము, డేటాబేస్ డాట్ క్వరీ లొకేటర్ స్టార్ట్. సో ఇక్కడ మనం టైంని క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసాం. 6 months బ్యాక్ ఉన్న టైంని తీసుకున్నాము. సో కరెంట్ క్లోజ్ డేట్ ఓల్డర్ దెన్ లెస్ దెన్ దిస్ 6 months అండ్ ఈజ్ క్లోజ్డ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ట్రూ. సో కేసు క్లోజ్ అయ్యి 6 నెలలకు ముందు క్లోజ్ అయిన కేసెస్ని తీసుకున్నాము. ఆ కేసెస్ని డేటాబేస్ డాట్ గెట్ క్వరీ లొకేటర్ ద్వారా రిటర్న్ చేస్తున్నాము. ఓకే, సో 6 months ముందు ఏ రికార్డ్స్ అయితే క్లోజ్ అయినాయో ఆ రికార్డ్ ఐడీస్ మొత్తం ఇక్కడ డేటాబేస్ డాట్ గెట్ క్వరీ లొకేటర్కి వస్తాయి. ఓకేనా? And then now, what is the object name? Here, case. Okay. So here, so to track this failed and success records, what is the statement we need to use? How to track those? By using database dot save result. Okay. So by using that object, we can able to query those records. So in this execute method, so this is the method that we need to, this is the object database dot delete result. Okay. So by using this object, we can able to query the either success or failure records. Database dot, so save result would be insert and update. Okay. For delete, we have database dot delete result. Result equal to, what is that value? Database dot delete of, what is this? This variable we need to pass. Okay. Scope, or you can able to make it as cases. Okay. Cases, comma, false. So if you mention database dot delete cases variable, okay, variable comma false, that means you can able to do partial transaction. Okay. While doing the transaction, if any of the record is getting failed, okay, so it will do partial transaction. Okay. అర్థమైందా? And then what we need to do, we need to iterate this delete result to get the success and failure records. So here you need to, for database dot database dot, so what does it, illegal assignment from list to database dot result. So always this is a array type. Okay. Database dot, why? Because we are passing the list variable, right? Always database dot delete result would be array. Okay. So save result dr colon results we can keep. So this variable we need to iterate if dr dot, what is success. Is success, what is the value we need to increment? Success records plus plus. Okay. Otherwise it will be a failure record. Otherwise it will be a failure records. We need to what is that mean? Is successful. Is successful. So variable does not exist, is successful. So what are all the values available under this statement? dr dot success, that is a method. So tr dot access. సో ఇక్కడ మనం వాయిడ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ కి ఈ లిస్ట్ ని records which are retrieved through database.query locator we are passing to execute method. In that execute method, so we have one object called database.delete result. So by using this object we can able to track the successful as well as failure records. For example, in case for insert and update, for insert or update, we need to use database dot save result. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So this is for delete, that's why we are using database dot delete result. In case of insert or update, we need to what we need to use, which object we need to use, database dot save result. Database dot delete instead of delete result we need to pass save result. Here also we need to pass database dot save result and iterate the same thing. So these are all is success or common, is failure. Okay, so if it is success, each and every record we are incrementing the count. Okay, for example, record 1 is success, then count is 1. Record 2 also success, so initial value 1 and then count another value is second record. It will increment the values, so based on the success records. If it is failure, it will capture under failure records count. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So these are all the static values. So here in the finish method, this is optional. Okay, optional. Okay, so if you want to send an email, what you need to do, there is a one object called messaging dot messaging dot single email messaging dot equal to new messaging dot. So if you want to send the email through apex, what is the object you need to use? You need to use messaging dot single email message. By using single email message object, we can able to send an email to the user. అర్థమైందా? single email message. Okay, so we need to initialize that object. So in this object, message dot to address equals to, what is the address we need to send? This is the notification email to this person. We need to send and so message dot from address, like whatever you want, you can use it here. Okay, right here, yahoo.com, and message dot set body. So in the body, whatever you want, you can able to keep it. So here single email message, and then this is the okay, set two addresses, set. So this is the field we need to use, set two addresses. and then what is the set subject. Just I'm getting this information. So these are all the fields that we need to use it here. So this set to address is a string type. Okay, so the notation will be like this. Okay, and this notification we are getting from notification email. So this one we already getting from the custom metadata. Okay, and then set subject, closed case cleanup completed. So what are the subject that would require business, you can keep that value. Okay, so set plain text body. So in this you can able to mention what are the months, total deleted records, total failure records. Okay, here we have failure records, and then success records. How many records are successfully deleted? Okay, అర్థమైందా? So here what is the variable name? Here it is a message. And then final method is one more method, message dot send. Message dot single email message of send something, one method is there by using messaging dot send method. Okay, send email. So here we need to mention that particular so messaging dot send email of, so send email of so here what is the variable name we mentioned for single email message? This is the value. Okay, so this is how we need to send an email by using messaging dot single email message. You can able to send it. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So here we are setting the two addresses. So this address it will go, and set subject, what is the subject that you would require in the body. So batch execution completed, retention period 6 months, deleted records. So how many success records deleted, that count we are sending. Failure record, how many records are getting failed. Okay, so this is how we need to. So what are all the things we covered here? So as part of this batchapex, so we are tracking the each record status. Okay, by using database.stateful, and also we made it as a configurable. Okay, in future any user want to modify the cutoff date, that means 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. Okay, whatever the value that they would require, last 18 months, older than 18 months, older than 12 months. Okay, older than 2 years. So what are the value that business need, they can able to configure by using this case deletion configuration metadata. Okay, and also if they want, they can able to change this email address, notification email address. So you no need to come here and modify the code. Okay, not at all required here. So business admin can able to configure those two values by using custom metadata settings, okay, so that it won't be dependent on developer for simple small changes, okay. అర్థమైందా? ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా దీంట్లో? హోప్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్. సే సార్ నా అర్థమైందా లేదా? సో నౌ we will query, is there any case records which are older than 6 months in our org, okay. So let me query those records from the database. From select id, closed date from case where close date where is closed equals to true and close date less than last how many days? 6 months means 180 last 180, okay. So is closed equal to unexpected token last ఏం క్లోజ్ చేయాలి? ఓ ఇది అవసరం లేదు కదా. సో 0, okay, last 90 days. Last 90 days in the sense here how many days we need to query? 180, right? Close date less than we need to keep here, less than what is the date that we need to use here? 1, right? 1. This is the old one, right? So when it was closed 2025, so these many, there are 23 records are there, okay. అర్థమైందా? So that means these cases are closed before this January 2026, okay. January 2026 13th, okay. That means older than 6 months. So how many records are found? There are 23 records. So now what I will do, so I need to run the batchapex, right? So how do you run the batchapex? You need to go to the developer console. Here control E, what is the batch class name? Delete old cases. So here just you need to create a instance of this batch equals to new deleted batch dot. So how to execute that one? Database dot exe execute batch of this batch. So here I'm giving the size as 2. Okay, so what is the minimum maximum size? Here you need to give the size of that batch, how many records it needs to be processed. Okay, so see here there are 20. Okay, now I'm executing this batch. Delete old cases, old closed cases batch. Okay, now I'm executing this batch. You can see. So batch was executed. Okay, so this is the number of servers retrieved. This customer data, this is retrieved, as well as now we'll go to Salesforce and verify. So earlier 23, now how many records in the database? ఎన్ని రికార్డ్స్ ఉండాలా డేటాబేస్లో? ఫాలో అవుతున్నారా? సి ఇప్పుడు నేను బ్యాచ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేశా, ఎన్ని రికార్డ్స్ ఉండాలి ఇప్పుడు నాకు? ఎన్ని రికార్డ్స్ ఉండాలా? ఇప్పుడు నేను బ్యాచ్ క్లాస్ని రన్ చేశా, ఏంది డిలీట్ బ్యాచ్ క్లాస్ని రన్ చేశా, రికార్డ్స్ ఉంటాయా లేదా నా డేటాబేస్లో? సో నేను 23 రికార్డ్స్ కదా, నాకు బ్యాచ్ ఎన్నిసార్లు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుందా? 23 రికార్డ్స్, నేను బ్యాచ్ సైజు 2 ఇచ్చా, ఎన్నిసార్లు బ్యాచ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుందా?
2 సార్లు బ్యాచ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్. 2 సార్లు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది.
2 సార్లా? 23 రికార్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. నేను బ్యాచ్ సైజు సి నాకు టోటల్ రికార్డ్స్ ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి? 23 రికార్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. నేను బ్యాచ్ సైజ్ ఎంత ఇచ్చాను? అప్పుడు ఎన్ని బ్యాచ్లకు రన్ అవుతాయి? టోటల్ రికార్డ్స్ ఎన్ని? 23. నేను బ్యాచ్ సైజ్ ఎంత ఇచ్చాను? సో అప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ మెథడ్ ఎన్నిసార్లు రన్ అవుతుంది?
12.
ఎలా
అంటే మీరు బ్యాచ్ సైజు 2 ఇచ్చారు, టోటల్ రికార్డ్స్ 23 ఉన్నాయి. అది అది డివైడెడ్ బై అవుతుంది. అంటే ఈచ్ అంటే మీరు బ్యాచ్ సైజుని బట్టి రికార్డు
చేసుకుంటది. సో అప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ మెథడ్ ఎన్నిసార్లు రన్ అవుతుంది? 12 టైమ్స్. సో 11 టైమ్స్ 2 రికార్డ్స్ తీసుకుంటది. 12th టైం ఓన్లీ ఒక రికార్డే ఉంటుంది డేటాబేస్ లో. ఓకే, ఆ ఒక రికార్డ్నే రిటర్న్ చేస్తుంది, ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంది. అర్థమైందా మీకు? మరి బ్యాచ్ సైజు టోటల్ రికార్డ్ చెప్పినప్పుడు ఎన్నిసార్లు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది అంటే దాన్ని చెప్పలేకపోతున్నారే. ఇప్పుడు నాకు రికార్డ్స్ ఉంటాయా లేవా డేటాబేస్లో? మనం ఏ ఆపరేషన్ చేసాం ఇప్పుడు?
డిలీట్ ఆపరేషన్.
మళ్ళీ రికార్డ్స్ ఉంటాయని చెప్తున్నావే. సో నో డేటా. అర్థమైందా? రికార్డ్స్ మొత్తం డిలీట్ అయిపోయాయి. వై? బికాస్ వీ యూస్డ్, సో ద కేసెస్ విచ్ ఆర్ ఓల్డర్ దెన్ 6 months వీ డిలీటెడ్. ఓకే, సో డిలీట్ చేసాము. ఇక్కడ మనకేమొస్తుంది? ఒక మెయిల్ వస్తుంది రెస్పెక్టివ్ యూజర్కి. లెట్ మీ చెక్ వెదర్ ఐ రిసీవ్డ్ ద ఈమెయిల్ ఆర్ నాట్. సి, వచ్చిందా ఈమెయిల్? బ్యాచ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ కంప్లీటెడ్, రిటర్న్ పీరియడ్ 6 months, డిలీటెడ్ రికార్డ్స్ 23, ఫెయిల్యూర్ రికార్డ్స్ 0. అర్థమైందా? క్లోజ్డ్ కేసెస్ క్లీనప్ కంప్లీటెడ్. దిస్ ఇస్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్. ఓకే, సో మీరు డిఫరెంట్ సినారియోస్, ఓకే, వితౌట్ నేను విత్ స్టేట్ఫుల్తో చేశాను. స్టేట్లెస్లో ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుందో ఒకసారి మీరు చూడండి. ఓకేనా? ఇది ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. ఓకే, మీ సైడ్ నుంచి కూడా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద యూజ్ కేస్? వాట్ ఈస్ ద యూజ్ కేస్? సో another one would be, so when I am trying to import the contacts, multiple bulk contacts, okay, at that time I want to send email notification to the welcome email to the contact. So you have been successfully enrolled for this particular account. Okay, that is the message we need to send. Okay, how do you send? Why? Because so in future we are doing bulk import, right? So instead of doing it in trigger itself, we can use Kubel Apex. Kubel Apex. So for that one also, what you need to use? Just create a Apex class. Contact welcome email Kubel. Okay, contact welcome email Kubel. So here public class name implements, what is that? QUEBLE Kubel. Okay, and then here, so what I need to do? Just I want to public class name, public void. What is the Kubel Apex will contain? Only void method. Public void, only execute method. It will have execute QUE Kubel context QC. Implements QUEABLE Kubel. So context QC, class name implements, right? it needs to be start with implements queuable. So must be global or queuable context. So overriding the implementation of global or public interfaces must be PUB LIC public. Okay. So for this one, so default values I need to assign. Default values here private list of ID. So here what I need, contact IDs, contact IDs. So public, I need to write a default constructor public. So for this queuable context, so what is the default value? For this one, I am passing list of ID. What ID is? Contact IDs. Okay. So here this contact ID is equal to contact IDs. So while loading the executing this class itself, so it will fetch the respective contact IDs and passing to local variable contact IDs. Okay. So that is the initialization, object initialization, default values what we need to get it. Okay. And then in the execute method what we need to do, so here we need to fetch the list of contacts, contact con list equal to select ID comma email from contact where ID in ID colon ID equals to colon contact IDs. Okay. Or otherwise you can able to use like this also in operator. Okay, where ID is in. So after that what we need to send, we need to iterate for each contact, we need to send an email. For each contact we need to send an email. We can take last name also, last name. So for loop, so what we need to iterate here, contact con con list. Okay. So each and every contact we need to iterate and then we need to send an email. So in this contact what we need to check the null condition. So we need to send email, right? Email should not be blank. If con dot email not equals to null. Okay. Then what is the message we need to send? Messaging that messaging dot single email message equals to email equals to new messaging dot single email message. Okay, so here we need to make it as a list. Okay, list of what is that? Messaging that single email message. So emails equals to new list of messaging that single email message. So same. So whatever the values that we keep here, deleted message is there, right? In the mail body. Okay. Same we can keep there also. So here email dot what is the subject, okay, for each one, and what is the plain text body. So here subject is welcome to AKA Agritech. Subject, okay. To address here, what you need to keep contact email, okay, contact email dot so in the plain text body here you can what are the things that you would require, you can able to keep it. Like here you can able to mention in single quotes, hi, concatenate with CYN dot last name plus comma colon comma backslash n separate line, okay, backslash n backslash n welcome to welcome to welcome to company, we are happy to to have you with us. Okay. So, and then finally, what you need to do? So finally, you need to add this right email list. So these are all the emails. For this one, you need to add emails dot add of what is this email. Okay, each and every single email address we are adding to the list. Okay, and then finally, if emails not equal to null, then what you need to do? So not empty condition we need to check is and is not empty of what is that emails. Emails dot is empty. Emails dot is not empty. Then messaging dot send email of what is that emails list of emails we need to send. So what is the issue here? Messaging dot single email message. Okay, invalid type messaging dot single email message. Okay, syntax error this is. Okay, control save. So how to test this one? Here, in order to test this one, just you need to use so from where when contact is inserted. Okay, so when contact is inserted, we have contact email record right before insert. Okay, sorry, after insert we need to take. Okay, so here I'm opening the contact trigger. Okay, so anyway, contact handler we have contact handler. Open this contact handler. In the contact handler, you can create a one more method public static void send email. So for this send email, what we need? Trigger dot what is the trigger dot new? List of new contact list of new contact con list. So here in the for loop, con contact con new list. సో న్యూ లిస్ట్ వేరియబుల్ ఇక్కడ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఇక్కడ నుంచి క్వరీ చేసుకొని జస్ట్ మనము ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, హియర్ వీ కెన్ ఇనిషియేట్ వన్ లిస్ట్ వేరియబుల్, లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఐడీస్ ఓకే, కాంటాక్ట్ ఐడీస్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు న్యూ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ IDs. Okay, so here what we are doing, contact IDs dot add of what is this, con dot id, if con list not equal to not empty, con list dot is empty. Okay, list is not equal to null, then what we are doing, system dot, so system dot to schedule the, I mean to call the, to execute the Kubel apex, we need to use system dot enq job, system dot enq job of, so what is that, new, what is the name of Kubel apex, this is the name. So for this new, so what is the value we need to pass, we need to pass the list of contact IDs, list of contact IDs. So when new record trying to insert, okay, when new record trying to insert, okay, so here what we need to use, we need to use one statement called is after, okay, and is insert. So in the contact trigger also update count of contact. So here what we need, one more method, contact trigger dot what is that, the method name, send email. Send email of, what is the value we need here, trigger dot new comma trigger dot is insert. So list boolean, here also we need to pass the boolean value. is insert. What is that value? Boolean value. So now from this trigger we are passing trigger.new. So what is the event? Insert event. Okay, so this contact trigger handler send email. So for after insert it will call, and then here we need to check the one more condition. If is insert, if is insert, then only execute this. అర్థమైందా? So here whenever new record is getting created through contact, so it will send automatically email to the respective contact. Okay, so let me check this. So now I'm going to create a one new contact. So here related list, right? In the related I'm trying to create a one new contact. What is the email? Ankaya _ b @yahoo.com. Save this contact. So this contact is saved. Let me check whether I received the email or not. Let me go to this spam folder. Okay, I think it will work. Okay, definitely it will work. New Cubal. Okay, everything we deployed, everything was in QA. So here there is an issue in the Cubal class. What is that? Attempt to dereference a null object. So which line it is getting an error? Last name where id in empty variable. Okay, so attempt to dereference a null object. So here we are not getting the id properly. Okay, so that is the issue. Let me debug this one. So how we need to debug the values? Okay, system.debug of So here I need to get the contact IDs. Contact IDs equals to plus contact IDs. So before getting here, I need to verify in the trigger also. Okay. From the contact trigger, so whether we are getting the values here or not, we need to verify. So here, what is the values? System dot debug of new list. New list equals to new list. Now let me create a one more record. So for this account, new contact, Monday, okay, underscore b at the rate yahoo.com. So I'm clicking on this. Before this, I need to clear the cache so that we can able to track the latest debug logs. So there is a one contact created. Let me check the debug logs. So contact ID, new list, I'm getting the contact ID, okay, as well as I'm getting that, and then this is a queuable. In this queuable, so contact IDs I'm getting as null. Why I'm getting the contact IDs as null? So here the problem is list of contact IDs. So for this instance variable immediately, so we are passing it as a parameters, right? So we are passing it as a parameter. So always this local variable we need to get through this dot, okay? That is the missing point here. That is the reason we are getting contact IDs as null. It is not able to identify. So now I will create one more contact. Sure. This could be at the rate yahoo.com. And save this record. Now go to your, see now there is no error in the Qbul Apex, there is no error. Qbul handler successfully, when I open this in the debug logs, I got the ID, okay, respective contact ID. So if you go to your email box and verify whether you received the email or not. See here. So hi Ashok, welcome to. We are happy to have you with us. Okay. సో అలా ఇది మనం క్యూబుల్ అపెక్స్, బ్యాచ్ అపెక్స్. సో ఏమన్నా మనకు డేటా రాకపోతే మనం ఏం చేయాలా, లాక్స్ పెట్టుకొని చూడాలా. అర్థమైందా? సో బోత్ సినారియోస్ అర్థమైనాయా మీకు? అర్థమైనా? ఏమన్నా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? మస్తాన్ అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసిన తర్వాత డౌట్లు ఉంటే అడుగుతాను.
కంపల్సరీ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి, ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తేనే గుర్తుంటాయి. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి, అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి ఎందుకు వాడుతున్నాం అనేది. ఓకేనా? ఓకే, ఇంకా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
ఇప్పుడు చేసింది ఒకసారి సినారియో
క్యూబుల్ అపెక్స్ ఇది మనం చేసింది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ఇన్సర్టింగ్ ద బల్క్ రికార్డ్స్, ఓకే, త్రూ, so whenever record is getting inserted, for example 1000 or 10,000 records you are going to insert, on top of that you are sending an email, okay. While creation of record itself you can able to send through trigger, okay. For example if you have more than 50,000 or 1 lakh records, at the time trigger will not execute all these emails at a time, okay. Instead of that one, so insert operation will completed immediately. So one by one on late process emails will be sent based on this Qbul Apex. Based on some wait time it will send, and it will not impact on the system and CPU time limit, okay. So trigger at a time, record insertion and email sending both will be at a time processing, right? It will take huge time, okay. So in order to avoid those kind of issues, we are implemented that one using Qbul Apex, okay. So we have a scenario to send email notification. We are getting so contacts are getting inserted in bulk way, okay, for each and every contact. So sometimes it will be like more than 10,000, okay. At the time we need to send welcome notification to the respective contact. In this scenario I used Qbul Apex, okay, by using trigger, okay. So here what you did, so in the trigger contact trigger handler you are sending the trigger.new, and which operation? After insert, okay. After insert what you are sending? You are sending trigger.new to the respective contact handler. So from the handler we are fetching the new contact IDs, okay. All the IDs you are fetching, and then you are passing those IDs to Qbul Apex. So how to identify the Qbul Apex? So system.nqjob, by using this you can able to identify, okay. So always Qbul Apex have one method, that is execute method. Only execute method will have Qbul Apex, and while executing this Qbul Apex, by default we are getting these contact IDs from trigger, okay. and then we are passing these input parameters in this list of contact IDs to the execute method. So here we are getting the respective email and first name, okay, and we are iterating this list of contacts. For each and every contact email we are capturing, and we are creating one messaging that single email message, and finally this single email message we are assigning it to list of single email messages. This is the list variable, okay. So finally we are checking that list variable is not empty, then messaging that send email, okay. అర్థమైందా? సో ఇక్కడ మనం ఏం కవర్ చేసాము? మెయిన్ చాలా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్యూబుల్ అపెక్స్ అడ్వాన్స్ లేటెస్ట్ ఫీచర్ ఇది, ఓకే. ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ ఫీచర్ మెథడ్ వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ క్యూబుల్ అపెక్స్, ఓకే. అండ్ దెన్ batchapex. So in the batchapex stateful we used, and also we used custom metadata. How to use, you need to write a code for different scenarios, okay. So I took only one example and I explained everything, okay. You need to work on more examples, okay, then only you can able to remember the logic, how to write, and how you can able to think, okay. All those things will be comes in your mind when you practice. Until unless you will not get anything. So while telling in the class you can able to understand easily, but if you don't practice, it will not remember you, and also you may lose while writing the code in front of interviewer. So always what I'm trying to say, practice is makes man's perfect. So you should practice whatever the class that has been completed. So you need to recollect and practice those scenarios, and also you need to do some extra scenarios and ask questions, then only I may know so how much you can able to understood, okay. సో ఈ సినారియోస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి.